Negro League jerseys and uniforms will help him do just that as the Brewers hit the field here in front of a sellout crowd at Miller Park.
Well, let's check out the U.S. Cellular scouting report on Yovani Gallardo. He's winless in July, ERA just a bit over 5, but it really hasn't been hits that he's been allowing. A lot of hits, but a lot of walks. His pitch count has been up there. Last time out at Cincinnati, 113 pitches in 6 innings. And as we talked about, got to limit those walks, particularly against the Braves. Got 59 walks on the year. That's second most in the National League. That's a surprise.
Well, the Braves pounding out 9 runs on 17 hits last night. Here's how the Brewers line up defensively. It's brought to you by Menards. Braun, Cameron, and Catalinato in the outfield. Counsell, Hardy, Lopez, and Fielder around the horn, with Kendall catching Yovani Gallardo. Felipe Lopez making his Brewers debut here at Miller Park as a starter. He did pinch hit yesterday. As you take a look at the numbers for Yovani Gallardo, he's looking for his first win since late June. He last won against the Giants on June 26th.
Man, the one thing he's done a good job of is the strikeouts. 130 strikeouts. That's good for 4th in the National League. The opponent batting average at 208. That's 3rd. So, as we mentioned, it hasn't been a case of giving up a lot of hits, just a lot of base runners, base on balls.
Well, the Braves don't typically hit a lot of home runs, but they did last night. 3 long balls last night, and they all were costly. Martin Prado, Chipper Jones, Nate McLeod, all going deep. Braves with 83 home runs this year, middle of the pack. They beat the Brewers at their own game. And the Brewer pitching staff giving up more home runs than any pitching staff in the National League. So hopefully that is going to be a stat that begins to turn itself around if the Brewers have hopes of a postseason run this year. Ready for baseball. Nate McLeod leads off against Gallardo. And the game's first pitch is down and away we go on a Saturday night. C.B. Buckner, the home plate umpire. Crew chief is Jerry Davis over at third. Mike Everett and Scott Berry, the other 2 base umpires. And McLeod lines one back up the middle. And this game starts just like it was last night for Atlanta when they pounded out 17 hits, matched a season high allowed by Brewer pitching.
Well, it's an offense that doesn't strike out too much. They take what they give you. 9 runs, but they also left 13 left on base. I mean, that's a lot of base runners last night. And Nate McLeod able to bang this one right back through the middle on a 4-seamer right down Main Street by Gallardo.
Now McLeod is a base stealer. He's only been caught 1 time this year. Stole one last night, his 13th stolen base of the year. So certainly a guy you have to keep an eye on. The Braves as a team don't run a lot. They hardly ran at all until Nate McLeod showed up. You're looking at 2 teams here on the Braves and the Brewers that are at the bottom of the National League in stolen bases. A bouncer to third. Counsell starts a 5-4-3 double play. And how about Felipe Lopez coming across the bag? Nicely done in his first start at Miller Park.
Counsell got rid of that ball so quickly. Lopez wasn't even there yet. Check it out. Right away, and Lopez not even there. Had to handle the throw a little bit awkward. It was down around the shins. That was because Lopez wasn't there yet, but still able to turn the double play. Well, it wasn't pretty, but they got it done.
Counsell to Lopez. Counsell yesterday started at second base. Lopez been nursing a tight hamstring and is finally back in the starting lineup. He missed 2 starts, 3 days total. Good to have Lopez back, though. I know he's been excited to make this start. He is energized by these huge crowds here at Miller Park. He was talking last night about how much he is looking forward to what the Brewers have in store the rest of the way, and he finally gets to settle in a pennant race after the trade from the Arizona Diamondbacks.
And you get a bona fide leadoff hitter, a switch hitter, a guy that can get on base, a good on base percentage, and can run. A little bit concerned about that hamstring, but seems to be okay.
Well, Chipper Jones has had a big year against the Milwaukee Brewers this season. He homered again last night. 12 home runs, 48 runs batted in for the year. 3 hits last night. scored twice. He was all over the base paths. And his home run last night put the Braves on top for good with 2 outs in the 6th inning.
Yeah, fastball down the middle. You can't throw too many of those to Chipper Jones. Too good a hitter to be making mistakes.
A little changeup from Gallardo. Breaking out the changeup early tonight. And a good pitch.
Now, Gallardo hasn't thrown too many of those in his last handful of starts. It's been fastball, curveball. But a good changeup and a fastball count.
Full count pitch, and Gallardo walks him. 2-out walk against Chipper Jones. Now Giovanni has not been himself, you could say. He's been pitching okay, though. He had a rough outing against the Dodgers. Took the loss and given up 5 runs in 5 innings. But he went 6 innings his last start and 3 runs. He struck out 7. Continues to rack up the strikeouts. Seems like Gallardo is always matching up against the opponent's best pitcher, which is what an ace will tend to do at times. And he's got quite a mound opponent tonight in young Tommy Hanson.
Although he hasn't been real sharp. Yeah, the Brewers haven't scored many runs for him. I mean, last 4 starts for Gallardo, the Brewers have lost all 4, but 2 times the Brewers shut out.
Yeah, the Brewers scoring 7 combined runs in his last 4 starts. Giovanni looks right at home in these throwback uniforms, doesn't he?
Yeah. There's a number of Brewers out there that look very comfortable in those uniforms. I think Craig Counsell looks pretty good in that uni.
Got him. Breaking ball and a called strike 3. McCann, a strikeout victim, and Gallardo, a scoreless first inning. Here come the Brewers. Felipe Lopez ready to lead off. It's May 2nd, 48-48, the record coming in. And they start the day 3.5 back of the St. Louis Cardinals, who are losing to the Phillies currently. Starting lineup for the manager, Felipe Lopez, his first Miller Park start. Craig Counsell has a 7-game hit streak. Ryan Braun bats third. Middle of the order for Macha is fielder Cameron and Catalanato, who gets to start in right field for Corey Hart. Bottom 3, J.J. Hardy, Jason Kendall, and Giovanni Gallardo, the Toyota starting lineups for the Milwaukee Brewers. Felipe Lopez, switch hitting second baseman. His 3rd start as a Brewer since the trade. And Tommy Hanson deals him a strike. Lopez comes in a 300 hitter. 307 combined between the Diamondbacks and the Brewers. 6 homers, 25 runs batted in. He's got an on-base percentage of .369, which is among the league leaders of those who hit leadoff in the National League.
And I know Ken Mock is very excited to get this kind of lineup every day, to get that continuity at the top. If you're going to score runs on a consistent basis, you have to be pretty much the first four in the lineup every day. You don't want platoons at the top of your order too much.
Well, Ricky Weeks, whose grandfather played in the Negro Leagues, looks right at home in that uniform. Good friends with Felipe Lopez. Those two work out together in the offseason. And Ricky will be with the ball club the rest of the season rehabbing and is not ruling out a return to the Brewers this year. But he and Lopez spending a lot of time together these last 2 days. Both trained down in the Orlando area. And Ricky very pleased that Lopez was acquired by Doug Melvin and the Brewers. Escobar takes care of Lopez for out number 1. And how about the U.S. Cellular scouting report, Rock, on young Tommy Hanson?
Man, he's got a good fastball. He can sink it, he'll four-seam it, locates it pretty well. Gets it up there in the low 90s, low to mid 90s, 94, 95 at times. He has a pretty good mix of curve and slider. And talking to Dale Swain, saying that, about 60% sliders, 40% curveballs. And his first time out against the Brewers, his first start ever, gave up 3 home runs, and he's only given up 5 all season. In 8 starts, only 5 home runs. 3 of those came in his first start.
Well, Bobby Cox and the Braves very mindful of his pitch counts this year. But you look at his innings this season in the big leagues, he's been able to go 7 innings twice and has just barely gone over the 100 pitch count on those 2 occasions. Atlanta shut him down for about 10 days. Prior to the All-Star break, they basically made a transaction where they sent him down to Single A, but he never left the ball club. And then the All-Star break occurred. Trying to protect the innings of the young right-hander.
Well, it worked, didn't it? His last time out, pretty good, 11 punch-outs.
Not only a career high for Tommy Hanson, but a franchise record for strikeouts for a Braves rookie pitcher. 11 punch-outs. His previous high had been 5. Counsell in a hole, 1-2. Craig with a 7-game hit streak and a .296 batting average to start the day. And a little soft floater. Easy play for Prado on out number 2. Well, the Braves have turned into one of the better defensive clubs. Their numbers don't show it, but they had a rocky start to the season. They have been tight defensively since, especially with the acquisition of Nate McLeod, the Gold Glove center fielder. Kochman is as good as it gets at first base, and Brian McCann, great young receiver, catching Tommy Hanson, who makes his 9th start tonight. 5 wins in his last 7 starts in the big leagues. Hanson won against the Giants his last time out. That was that 11 strikeout game when he gave up 5 hits and 3 runs against San Francisco. Here's Braun, who homer against Hanson in Atlanta and hammers that one to center field. That's going to one-hop the wall. And Ryan Braun ambushes the first pitch from Hanson, and a 2-out double here in the first inning.
Well, Ryan Braun not messing around. I mean, if he's getting a fastball that he thinks he can hit, he's turning on it. Well, he's starting to heat up. I mean, there was a stretch right before and after the All-Star break that Ryan wasn't swinging the bat all that well, but it started in Pittsburgh. Started to get better swings, and pitches like that aren't going to hurt him too much. A fastball right down the middle of the plate. Hanson just trying to get ahead in the count, and Ryan would have nothing to do with it, and knocks it into center field.
That extends his hitting streak to 5 games. Braun has 8 hits in his last 19 at-bats. That includes 3 home runs as well. So here's Prince with a chance to drive in a run in the first inning. And Hanson starts him with a breaking ball.
Yeah, there's that good yellow hammer. It's a good pitch. He'll throw that in a curveball, or I should say a slider, and he'll throw an occasional changeup, but not too many. If he's going to throw a changeup, it's going to be to the lefties.
Hansen was picked up in 2005, pitching in a community college, Riverside Community College, and was a late round draft pick, a 22nd round, a draft and follow guy. He's a big one, 6'6", 220, and he gets a lot of tilt on his fastball for sure. You hear pitching coaches talk about the downward plane. Tommy Hansen certainly has that. He stands tall on the mound and doesn't use a whole lot of leg work there.
And not a long stride, and he's got that downward plane as he gets rid of the baseball, giving that automatic sink. He's got good sink on it, gets a lot of ground ball outs.
2-1 to Prince, and another breaking ball is in there for a strike.
Pretty much the same pitch that he threw the day before, that pitch before, a slider. The first one missed away, this one right down the middle. It's either way, he stands fairly tall, pushes off with his back leg just a little bit, but finishes tall, which means he's going to get some good sink. A little bit of pressure on the arm when you have a delivery like that.
2-2 with Braun at second. And a breaking ball that misses upstairs. Now Fielder coming off a 4 strikeout game last night, only the second time in his career that has occurred. Last time was opening day of '06. Fielder said he took a lot of good swings, though, a lot of line drives right into the catcher's mitt on foul tips.
That's positive thinking.
Full count, 2 outs. Braun with a good sized lead at second. And a fastball spoiled from Fielder.
Well, Prince last night a little uncharacteristically swinging the pitches out of the strike zone, particularly high fastball. All season long he's been so disciplined in taking those pitches, but for whatever reason maybe he just wasn't seeing the ball that well from Vasquez. Just couldn't lay off.
Fielder reaches out for one, and that one is headed for the seats. And another foul ball. Now Prince last night, maybe more so than any other game we've seen this year, was challenged with not only men on base but open bases ahead of him. Vasquez went right after him and struck him out 4 times last night. He did it with a high fastball, he did it with a changeup, and then again with a fastball. Vasquez had pinpoint command last night.
Putting the baseball right where he wanted to, and most of the pitches that Prince swung at were not strikes.
Another 3-2 on the way from Hansen. Fielder right off the end of the bat.
He's thrown everything at Prince in this at bat. First inning, fastball, curveball, slider.
Well, Hansen earlier this year down in AAA, 3-3 record, a 1.49 ERA. Fans in Atlanta were calling for him to be promoted at the start of the season, much less by early June. Fielder pops this one up, got in there on his hands. And Martin Prado will make the call. And Hansen has a scoreless first inning. To the second we go on WMLW. The Brewers and the Braves scoreless. at Miller Park. Well, Yovani Gallardo, we talked about him facing some of the best pitchers in baseball. Look who he's matched up against this season. Just recently, as a matter of fact. Justin Verlander of the Tigers, Matt Cain of the Giants. Beat Matt Cain. That was his last win against San Francisco. Adam Wainwright and Clayton Kershaw. Garrett Anderson swinging away on the first pitch. And out number one.
Man, he's another guy that doesn't mess around. We saw that last night. First 2 times up. Swung at the first pitch both times. A lot of times when you have a good pitcher out there in the mound, that's the mindset of the hitter when they go up there. You don't want to have to get too deep in the count. They've got too many pitches in their arsenal to get you once you're behind in the count. So your thinking is get him early. The best pitch, probably the first strike.
And if there's been anything that has hampered Yovani Gallardo here lately, it has been pitch count. We saw that graphic there, some of the pitchers that he's matched up against. It's interesting that Ken Maka telling Gallardo to use Adam Wainwright as a guide. Wainwright has that devastating curveball that is an out pitch, and Gallardo a very similar curveball. Matter of fact, Maka says Gallardo's curveball is better than Wainwright's. Use your fastball, your slider to get ahead in the count, and then go for the swing and miss strike three.
The put away pitch. Use the curveball. Just break it out when you need it. There it is right there early in the count. It's one thing about Gallardo, when he has that pitch working for him, that curveball, and he's throwing it for strikes. That's when he has his big games. That's when he has those games where he gets a lot of strikeouts and puts up the goose eggs. But it's one of those pitches that's very difficult to have in your back pocket every time you go out there. It's that power curveball that's oftentimes very tough to throw for a called strike. Which is why Maka wants him to only use it with 2 strikes, maybe to put away a hitter.
There is that curveball, and Yunel Escobar takes it. 2-2 the count. Brightening up by the moment here as the roof opens up. Might be a little bit of a distraction to the hitter as the roof is opening mid-inning here. And a bouncer through, and Escobar just stays hot. Boy, this guy has put up some kind of numbers in the month of July. The reigning player of the week.
No, not much of a distraction, if it's any distraction at all. Well, if you're traveling, you can't watch the Brewers on FS Wisconsin. You can always catch the game on your computer with MLB.tv. It features 100 out-of-market games every week, live on your computer, and catch those you missed on demand. For details, go to Brewers.com.
One on base runner, and here's Casey Kochman. Kochman, 279 hitter coming in, 4 home runs this season. And a broken bat liner to fielder. He steps on the bag and a double play. How about that concentration from the big man? Makes the catch, avoids the bat, steps on the bag. All of that, and the inning is over. Nicely done, Prince. Charities. This morning, the 11th annual Brewers Charities Sausage Run Walk. Race is now so popular it sold out in a matter of moments. 2,500 people were there, raising more than $80,000. All proceeds to support Brewers Charities and its programs, including scholarships, youth baseball, youth ball field renovations, all around Milwaukee and Wisconsin. Special thanks to AT&T and all of our great sponsors for that event, because they picked up the tab. All the money goes to Brewers Charities.
Awesome.
Well done.
Wonder if anybody got beat by the sausages today.
You know, there were a few. There were a few that
Yeah.
got beat. You know, the sausages, they've been working out a little bit. Good pace on some of the sausages. The Italian didn't place at all. That was a little disappointing.
Lean sausages, huh?
I think the Italian and the Polish finished out of the money today, which is sad. Mike Cameron leads it off for the Brewers here in this first inning. Cameron homered against Tommy Hanson. One of the 3 home runs against Hanson in his major league debut on June 7th. That was in Atlanta. Cameron, the Georgia native, lives just outside Atlanta, about a half an hour from Turner Field. Cameron, Catalanato, and J.J. Hardy due up here in the second, as the roof is officially open now. Cameron late on a fastball, and this will stay in play for Kochman. 1 away. Well, it was a great time earlier today. Always enjoyed that. And check them out, Rock. We have an eyewitness account here. The chorizo cruising in. That's the scene.
Yeah.
You got folks running. And
Bratwurst and the chorizo, and actually they did finish in front of a bunch of people, didn't they?
Yeah. See there? It's a little unnerving when you're giving it your best effort and then this giant chorizo sausage with a huge sombrero comes running by you. But keep coming. Keep them coming. The trophies they give away are the sausages themselves.
Right.
Catalanato takes a ball, 1-1 the count. Well, Corey Hart sits tonight. Catalanato in there, primarily for his left-handed bat. Ken Maka getting as many lefties as he can in the lineup. And Catalanato belts one into left. Second hit for the Brewers against Tommy Hanson. And a 1-out base runner for Milwaukee.
Yeah, had a pretty good series in Pittsburgh, did Catalanato, able to get some base hits and using left field extremely well. Doing this on a pitch that was a good pitcher's pitch, down and away. Just drops the head of the bat on it and sneaks it into left field.
Here's J.J. Hardy now with Catalanato at first. Each club with 2 hits. Hardy bounces one to short. Escobar takes a tough hop and throws Hardy out. Great play by Kochman to receive the ball and get the tag on Hardy.
Boy, what an arm. Boy, what an arm by Escobar. My goodness. I mean, that ball wasn't in his glove very long. Able to pick a backhand short hop and check it out. I mean, flat-footed, going away from first base, a little bit off the mark, but there soon enough for Kochman to be able to make an adjustment and make the tag on the leg of JJ as he went by. That's a nice play.
Escobar has certainly upped his game here in the last couple of weeks. Reigning player of the week in the National League. He swung the bat exceptionally well, and doing that on what seems like a nightly basis. Always helps to have a left-handed first baseman on a play like that as well. Allowed him to get the tag on Hardy with his glove hand side.
Left-handed first baseman that has as good a hands as anybody in baseball. This guy hadn't made an error in a long, long time. Escobar with 11 errors. Chipper Jones with 14 errors on the left side, but Escobar certainly has been fielding the baseball well lately.
Well, Hansen going after Kendall here with a base open at first and the pitcher coming up next. And Kendall right to Escobar. And the side retired. So Hansen getting a lot of ground balls here. 2 scoreless innings for him.
Presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards. And by American TV. American, huge selection, real service, the low price guaranteed.
Cloudy skies above, but apparently the thunderstorms that were in and around the area all day. Matter of fact, we got a few showers just about 3:30, 4 o'clock today. They have subsided because the roof is open. It's a beautiful night for baseball in Milwaukee. Yovani Gallardo back on the mound to start his 3rd inning of work. Just 20 pitches through the first 2 innings and already a couple of double plays today. Ryan Church, one of the Braves' newest acquisitions. There's a deal with the New York Mets that sent Jeff Francoeur to New York. Braves picking up yet another left-handed hitter. Bobby Cox not afraid to throw out a bunch of lefties in his lineup, and even with a left-handed pitcher on the mound like Manny Parra last night, Cox has a lot of confidence in his left-handed hitters, even against southpaw pitchers.
They had 6 lefties in the lineup, including Chipper Jones, who's a switch hitter tonight. Very left-hand dominant. They also have Kelly Johnson, a lefty, on the bench, and Greg Norton, another switch hitter. Like they needed another lefty.
What they needed most is a change of scenery with a couple of players. Ryan Church from New York to Atlanta, and certainly Jeff Francoeur badly needing a change of scenery from Atlanta to New York. Francoeur just never panned out like the Braves hoped he would. He was such a highly touted young player coming up in that Braves system, a Georgia native. I mean, there have been fans on Jeff Francoeur since he was in high school. And it would have been a great story, but he struggled at the plate.
It started out pretty well his first year. Had a decent rookie season with Atlanta, but one of those guys that never really was able to get a grasp of pitch selection at the plate. This guy was swinging at the rosin bag if you threw it up there to him. Didn't walk much. Very difficult to hit for an average when you don't have that plate discipline.
Well, Church is certainly glad to be in a pennant race now. The Mets, while they're not waving the white flag, they have had a dismal year this year. New York starts the day 10.5 back, and for all intents and purposes are done in the division as Church strikes out, and Gallardo picks up number 2. He struck out McCann looking in the first inning and gets Church here swinging.
Good changeup on 3-2. Good to see him using that pitch like he did early in the season. That's a good pitch for him. You can see Church way out in front.
One gone for Hansen. Just 2 hits this year. He's 2 for 16. Matchup of great young arms here, and they do it in a much different fashion. Hansen uses that good sinker, has good breaking stuff. Gallardo more straight over the top, hides the ball well, good deception.
And not much of a sink, more 4-seamers. Locates in and out when he's having a good night. And tonight has shown a pretty good changeup. Establishing that changeup can do a lot of things for Gallardo, including, keeping that pitch count down, because the changeup, is designed to have a hitter out in front, not necessarily looking to have a swing and a miss. Get down on the end of the bat a lot with the changeup, particularly lefties.
2 up and 2 down for Gallardo. Well, let's take it back. June 5th for Gallardo against the Braves in Atlanta, and Rock, outside the complete game he had against the Houston Astros, this would be his hallmark performance of the year. Only a 2-hitter in 8 innings and no runs. He struck out 6.
And had excellent command of his fastball and was able to put the Braves away early in the season with that curveball. See, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. He only allowed 2 hits. That's the thing about Gallardo all season long. Even when he's not pitching well or not pitching at his best, he's not giving up a lot of hits. It's usually the walks that end up hurting him.
Gallardo gave up 2 doubles that day, one to Brian McCann, the other to Martin Prado. And that was it. 8 shutout innings. Gallardo has been involved in 5 shutouts this year. Make that 6 shutouts this year. And unfortunately, he's been on the losing side half the time. Another hit for the Braves. They have a hit in each of the first 3 innings. McLouth is 2 for 2. And he's aboard with 2 away for Martin Prado.
Yeah, one of the issues that the Brewer pitching staff had last night was not being able to finish off the Braves in an inning. A lot of times there's a couple of occasions where the Brewer pitchers were able to get first 2 outs but not able to close it out. It's one of the benefits of having an offense that doesn't swing and miss much. Put the ball in play, give yourself a chance.
2 outs for Martin Prado. McLouth takes off. Kendall's throw is late. That ball hits McLouth, and it'll be a stolen base. McLouth got a big jump, and not much Kendall could do with that one. He does drill the base stealer right in the back, however, so he's making him think about it at least. Second stolen base in as many games for McLouth.
You can see the slide step by Gallardo, but McLouth too fast and had too good of a jump for Kendall to be able to get him. Actually got him on the arm.
Yeah. On the right elbow. Number 14 for McLouth. He's been caught just once this year, and immediately puts himself in scoring position. Prado chases one. 0-2 the count.
Catchers are going to earn their money tonight. A lot of curveballs in the dirt.
But you give up that for the joy of having the array of pitches to call. Kendall loves catching Gallardo.
Right.
It's so many pitches he can throw for strikes. Kendall and Gallardo have matched up very well this year. veteran catcher and a young pitcher. First time the Braves have had a runner in scoring position. 1-2 to Prado. Prado, just to show you how things have turned around for him. Last time Gallardo faced him back on the 5th of June, he was batting 8th, and he was a .244 hitter, a light hitting second baseman. Well, in 6 weeks, he's hitting second. He's in a sweet spot in the order behind McLeod in front of Jones, and he comes in batting .325.
And keeps Kelly Johnson on the bench.
It's not easy to raise your batting average. Nearly 100 points in 6 weeks of time, especially this time of the year when you have a lot of at-bats racked up.
You get a lot better pitches to hit batting second in front of Chipper Jones than you do when you hit 8th in front of the pitcher. That might have a little bit to do with it.
Absolutely.
Especially in this situation here.
You know, they're fighting for the chance to hit second in front of Jones. The 1-2. Prado takes a ball, 2-2 the count. Prado grounded into a 5-4-3 double play his last time up. Still leads the National League in hits in the month of July. Had 2 last night, including a 3-run homer. Drove in 4 runs. 33 hits this month. And a bouncer over to short. Long throw for Hardy and a good one. Boy, strong throw. 2 excellent plays by opposing shortstops in this game already. Baseball here, and the Brewers and the Braves hooked up in a pitcher's duel early. Tommy Hanson and Giovanni Gallardo. Scoreless game as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. Hanson will face Gallardo here to start this 3rd inning. 9-1-2 for the Brewers. Gallardo, Lopez, and Counsell. Hanson with 3 ground ball outs in the first 6 outs he has recorded, and when he's right, he'll get a lot of ground ball outs with that devastating sinker. No strikeouts yet for Hanson. Hanson coming off an 11 strikeout game against the Giants. These 2 young hurlers share one thing in common that Gallardo would like to change. Their last victory came against the Giants. Hansen's on Monday. Giovanni Gallardo's win against the Giants back at the end of June 26th.
Now, one thing's for sure, this guy is due to give up some runs. I mean, he's been very good so far this year, except for that first start against the Brewers. 5-0, good earned run average. You know, at some point he's due to give it up. How about tonight?
Well, Giovanni pops it foul. Well, you look at last night's game, Rock, and certainly you face a guy like Javier Vazquez, who entered the game in the top 10 in ERA in the National League, and you get 4 runs against Javier Vazquez. You're hoping that you've got a chance to win that ball.
You're
game.
feeling pretty good about yourself. I mean, when you get 4 runs off a guy like that, you betcha just wasn't to be last night.
A 9-4 win for Atlanta. Pitching issues last night. Seth McClung had to leave the game. He was injured. As a matter of fact, McClung placed on the disabled list about a half an hour ago officially. Elbow injury for McClung, and Tim Dillard will be promoted. Dillard will be available tomorrow in that Brewers bullpen. You see his numbers as a starting pitcher in AAA Nashville. A 10-game winner down there. And it'll be good to get Tim Dillard back in the big leagues. We saw a lot of him last year.
And you know, you could just tell that there was something going on with Seth McClung ever since he came out of the starting rotation. Made 2 starts and just wasn't right. He wasn't throwing hard, wasn't able to command his pitches like he was early in the season. I mean, he was one of the best relievers that the Brewers had up until they put him in the rotation.
Felipe Lopez, and Escobar makes a great catch over the shoulder on a floater from Felipe Lopez for out number 2.
Yeah, it's one of those things with McClung. You know, you expect a little bit of an adjustment for him going in and out of the rotation, but it was a little bit more than that. He didn't say anything about being injured. Obviously, there were some problems there, but you know, he goes on the disabled list, and you bring up Tim Dillard, who I think has a very good arm. The Brewers very high on him, and it's going to be a valuable asset out in that bullpen.
Well, Escobar has made 2 terrific plays tonight. 2 outs in this inning for Hansen against Craig Counsell. You can kind of see with Seth McClung, the one thing, you cannot sneak anything by Roger Kaplinger, the Brewers head athletic trainer. He is the master of body language.
Right.
And he knows these players so well and their mannerisms so well, the physical makeup of their actions. And when he saw McClung kind of shaking his hand and double clutching with his right arm, he knew right away something was wrong with him.
Didn't take much.
And you get an athletic trainer with an eye like that, he can save a lot of big injuries, major injuries that require surgery.
Because players just aren't going to say anything. I mean, unless it's really bad right away. You nip these things in the bud, and you might be able to save them from going on the disabled list for a real extended period of time. I mean, 2 weeks is one thing, but you can miss a guy for about 6 weeks with a major problem if he continues to stay out there and pitch.
Counsell trying to reach, give Braun a chance to swing the bat here in the 3rd. And right off the end of the bat, that is going to fall, a base hit. So Counsell extends his hitting streak to 8 games and just continues to deliver base hits night after night.
That just stays on the baseball, able to make contact. Not looking to drive the ball out of the ballpark. Realizes what his job is, and that is to get on first base with 2 outs to bring Ryan Braun to the plate. Anytime Ryan steps to the plate, Counsell, even at first base, feels as though he's in scoring position.
Well, here is Braun now. He's been jumping on the first pitch from Tommy Hansen. Doubled his last time up, homered off of him in Atlanta in early June. Lays off that one, a slider down at the knees. Strike 1. Braun comes in with 19 home runs, 66 driven in, and now at 22 doubles on the season. Braun's driven in 8 runs in his last 5 games, including this one, and has extended his hitting streak to 5. So he went through a bit of a slide there right before the All-Star break, and then the games after the All-Star break. It seems to have found his stroke once again.
Well, it started when he was having trouble getting the bat head out on the fastball, and when you have that problem, in your mind, you're thinking, I don't want to get jammed, and made him very susceptible to breaking pitches away.
Right on the outside corner at the knees, and if Hansen is going to pitch out there, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, last 2 pitches perfect by Tommy Hansen. On the knees, on the black. You can see the side angle, the best angle in baseball to determine how high a pitch is, right at the knees.
That's the pitch that gets you to the Hall of Fame right there. If you can throw that one consistently in a career. Not many can, though. 0-2 to Braun. Counsell takes off. Braun lays off, and Counsell is out at second base. McCann throws him out. A caught stealing 2 in the inning. And Hansen has 3 shutout on the board. No score from Miller Park in Milwaukee. We head to the 4th. Chipper Jones set to lead off. Gallardo back on the mound. Back at Miller Park in Milwaukee, and fans looking up at an air show going on above Miller Park. Every now and then, Rock, some of these fighter planes are come swooping in.
Coming in hot, partner.
Coming in hot. It's always entertainment. So you're getting the full package tonight at Miller Park. You get a sellout crowd. You get the roof opening mid-game, and sometimes you get an air show.
Air show today and tomorrow down at the lakefront.
No scores. We head to the 4th. Jones against Gallardo, and Giovanni is ahead of Chipper, 0-2. Well, what a career he's had. Chipper Jones winning the batting title last year. Then he thought he was approaching the end of his career, but boy, did he dial it up a season ago. Chipper Jones last year hit .364 to win his first batting title. Former MVP.
And when you talk about the best switch hitters of all time, Chipper Jones certainly in that conversation. Mickey Mantle, Eddie Murray, Chipper Jones. That's a pretty good group to be included in right there.
Well, the home run he hit last night was his career home run number 420. So 80 shy of that magical number at 500 home run plateau. And if he stays healthy enough, you'd think Jones would have a chance to get there as Gallardo punches him out.
Hey, fans, for just $14, see the Brew Crew and the Zoo. Get one Terrace Reserve ticket to select Brewers games and one 2009 adult admission ticket to the Milwaukee County Zoo. To purchase tickets, call 414-902-4000 or go to brewers.com/zoo.
Kind of sounds like the old Shea Stadium here tonight at Miller Park. Different kind of planes, though.
Right.
Brian McCann with one away. Gallardo struck out McCann with a man on in the first inning. McCann, a .299 hitter, started the day at an even .300. Was hitless last night. 0 for 6 at the plate last night. But hit 3 consecutive balls to the warning track his first 3 times up. He was the only Brave in the lineup without a hit yesterday.
And you can argue his first 3 times up, he hit the ball harder than anybody else in the lineup.
That's right. 1-2. And doesn't chase the curveball.
Well, sometimes that's the way this game goes. You sting one right on the nose and it's right at somebody. Then you hit a cue shot and you get a squibber down the line for a base hit. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And McCann certainly has had his share of base hits this year.
McCann back on the All-Star team again. 4th straight National League All-Star selection. That one didn't miss by much. Count goes full here.
And a good eye, I guess.
So Gallardo, a 3-2 pitch with one away. And McCann fights it off. Kind of a similar at-bat last night. McCann took what looked like was going to be strike 3, hung in there, fouled off a number of pitches, ultimately made an out, but saw a few extra ones from the pitcher.
Benefit of being the catcher, I guess.
He really knows the strike zone, you're saying?
No. Umpire wants to give him a break.
And now this is for extra bases. Catalanado runs it down, and Brian McCann will settle for a double. So the Braves have a single hit in each of the first 4 innings. This is the first extra base hit. And a runner at second with one away.
Well, new life after Gallardo missed the outside corner by maybe a millimeter and able to get one that he likes and rip it down the right field line for his first hit of the series. Hit that ball so hard. Prince Fielder guarding the line, not able to get there, and McCann in with a 1-out double.
McCann at second for Garrett Anderson, Atlanta's left fielder. And Gallardo drops a curveball in there for a strike. Anderson in his first year as an Atlanta Brave, spending all of his career with the Angels. He was with the Angels so long, he was with them when they were the California Angels. Another good curveball. Been some rumors that a number of American League teams are interested in Garrett Anderson.
Man, he can still hit. I mean, he's got pop in his bat. Uses a big, heavy bat, probably the heaviest bat in baseball. Still handles it pretty well. Just doesn't move around all that well in the outfield.
Spent 15 big league seasons with the Angels. And his first in the National League here with Atlanta. Pretty quiet on the Braves trade front right now. They've made their deals early. The Nate McLouth trade. They also picked up Ryan Church from the Mets. But they're still shopping for a right-handed hitting outfielder. Frank Wren, their general manager, certainly loves his pitching staff. You know, if you're trying to build a franchise to win consistently for a while. You do it with pitching. Nobody knows that better than the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time.
Rolling out Cy Young Award winners year after year, and Smoltz and Glavine and Greg Maddux. Atlanta starts the day 5.5 behind the Phillies, who beat the Cardinals today. So while the Brewers get a chance to make up a game, the Braves have to win to stay put. A bouncer. Hardy's got it. Awkward throw, but he makes it in time.
That's what you're talking about, the foot speed of Garrett Anderson. I mean, doesn't run all that well. Good play by JJ. Off balance, awkward throw. Didn't have much on it, but Garrett Anderson, even though he bats from the left side, gets a head start. Not able to get there.
And a good play by Hardy for out number 2. Subway Trivia Rock. Which 2 players did Milwaukee trade to Atlanta for Hank Aaron in 1974? The great Henry Aaron beginning his career in Milwaukee and ending it here in Milwaukee as a Brewer.
Haven't seen Hank around the ballpark at all last couple of years. Used to come out quite a bit.
Loves Milwaukee.
Yes, he does.
It's a big batter here for Giovanni Gallardo, a red-hot hitter with a runner at third and 2 away. Escobar on the ground to JJ. And Gallardo is out of it. A runner stranded at third. 4 shutout on the books for Gallardo. Braun leads off when we come back. Extending his hitting streak to 5 games with a double in his first at bat. He was at the plate when Counsell was thrown out, but Rocky's really starting to drive the ball to the opposite field. Had a home run here last night. 3 home runs in his last 5 games. He's driven an 8 in his last 5 as well, and the batting average impressive also.
No, just not jumping at the baseball like he was about a week ago. Staying back nicely, letting the ball get to him, and trusting his hands. I mean, he's got as quick a hands as anybody in the National League. I mean, he's hadn't been able to put up these numbers since he's come to the Brewers for nothing. I mean, he's got incredible talent. Just has to relax, let the ball get to him, and swing at strikes. He's been doing a much better job of that.
Now Braun ranking among National League leaders in runs, where he's second in the league. Total bases, where he's third. Multi-hit games, where he's third. So all over the National League stat sheet. He and Prince Fielder tied for the National League lead as far as duos go in run production. Braun and Fielder driving in a combined 152 runs this year, tied with Pujols and Ludwig of the Cardinals. Cardinals made the trade yesterday to get Matt Holliday from the Oakland Athletics. Holliday had 4 hits yesterday. And a pretty formidable lineup now with DeRosa, Julio Lugo in there. Phillies all over St. Louis today. Jimmy Rollins had a grand slam. 14-6. The Phillies win, and as Braun is thrown out for out number 1.
Man, I think the Phillies are going to have to do a little bit better job of down the stretch is pitching. They've been trying to get some pitching help. Pitching has struggled. They're a little bit better this year, or I should say lately. But they have big time offense.
Well, there are reports surfacing that the Phillies will reject the trade demands from the Toronto Blue Jays concerning Roy Halladay. Toronto asking too much, according to some reports.
Yeah, the Toronto trading deadline, what, 3 days away, right? 28th?
That's right. J.P. Ricciardi put the moved the deadline up 3 days. You can understand why, too. Doug Melvin was commenting on that self-imposed trade deadline. The Major League deadline is the 31st of July, but the Blue Jays want to make it on the 28th, primarily because of the negotiations that would have to occur with Roy Halladay, who has a no-trade clause. And then if you're the Blue Jays, you got to figure out, if you're going to trade Halladay, you're going to trade others as well. You're going to try to really revamp your roster. So that gives them time to do that. I could see that. And oh, by the way, his next start is scheduled for the 29th of July, the next day. Fielder pops it up. Hansen jammed him again, swinging away on a 3-0 pitch. And it's out number 2. Subway trivia. Which 2 players did Milwaukee trade to Atlanta for Hank Aaron in '74? Returning the great Hank to Milwaukee, Roger Alexander and Dave May, who can always say that they were traded for the greatest home run hitter of all time. Who hit his first and his last right here in Milwaukee. Matter of fact, if you get some time, you come to Miller Park. If you start milling around near Healthcare Field, the Little League field out there in the parking lot, you'll find the spot where 755 landed. There's a plaque on the ground. Not much fanfare that day.
No, not that day, but right around the time that County Stadium was ready to come down, there was a lot of fanfare about it.
1-2-3 inning for Hansen. On our way to the 5th at Miller Park. Still scoreless. And the Braves, game 2 of this series. Giovanni Gallardo matching up with Tommy Hanson tonight. Both pitching well. Craig Counsell extended his hitting streak to 8 games. Ryan Braun doubled off Hanson in the first inning. But neither of these young hurlers has given in yet. No runs, 4 hits, no errors for Atlanta. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Brewers tonight. The Milwaukee Bears, as they're known. Negro League tribute night tonight here at Miller Park. Braves wearing the throwback uniforms of the Atlanta Black Crackers, and the Brewers of the 1923 Milwaukee Bears. Casey Kochman leading off. It's the bottom of the order here for Atlanta. Kochman, Church, and the pitcher Hanson. Giovanni trying to ease his way through a 5th inning here at the bottom of the order. He's given up a hit in every inning so far, but has had a good curveball tonight. He's been able to strand 3 Braves, thanks in part to a couple of double plays.
Yeah, good curveball and a very good changeup tonight. He's throwing more changeups tonight than he has in previous starts. What it's all about. That's what pitching, hitting is. Always an effort to make adjustments. If something's not working, try to come up with something else so you can be a little bit more consistent. Very difficult to have the same stuff every time out. You're not sure what you're going to have when you step out there on the mound to start the game.
Fastball in on the hands of Kochman. Easy play for Fielder. A lot of jam shots in this game with these 2 pitchers.
Hey, Brewers fans, want a free terrace level game ticket? Then complete a BP Come On Back card by making 6 purchases of 8 or more gallons of gas at participating BP gas stations. Call 414-902-4000 or go to brewers.com for details.
Another big crowd tonight. Last night, the 22nd sellout of the year. Just shy of 42,000 at Miller Park last night. And the Brewers trying to get things going here. They have just been unable to string together any kind of substantial win streak. Kind of stuck in the mud since mid-June. And it has been a rough month of July. But every day the Brewers look up and they feel like, all right, have we hit the bottom? Because we're still in the pennant race.
Yeah.
That's how good the division is, I think. I think the division is very well balanced. And you play so many games against your own division. That's the one thing the Brewers can still hang their hat on a little bit. They have played well against the Central. There's 7 games over 500 against their own division.
Brewers have more wins within the division than any team in the Central.
Pitching is the name of the game, and Doug Melvin hard at it, seeing if there's any opportunities at a trade, any kind of fits out there that would work for the Brewers without coughing up some of your best prospects. There's a fine line and a fine balance between dealing away prospects and trying to build for the future, playing for the now as well. Gallardo walks Church. And the Braves continue their trend with at least 1 base runner per inning against Giovanni. Cubs won earlier today. They beat the Reds 5-3. Kevin Hart won that game. Cubs placed Ted Lilly on the disabled list. Hart filling in, picked up the win against Johnny Cueto. A ton of home runs in that game today at Wrigley. 2 by the Reds, 3 by the Cubs. Phillies beat the Cardinals 14-6. Jimmy Rollins with a grand slam. Big home run in that game. He and Victorino went back-to-back. Astros are down to the Mets 4-1. New York leads it in the bottom of the fourth. Cardinals, the Cubs, and the Astros all won yesterday.
Astros a great story. I tell you, about a month ago they were about giving up for dead, but they have started to really put it together. Their pitching has been the reason that they've had this resurgence.
Now Houston has won 4 straight.
They were ready about a month ago, about the time the Brewers were in Houston. They were ready to run Cecil Cooper out on a rail.
That's
I mean,
right.
he was about ready to be fired, according to the buzz around the ballpark. But they have certainly turned it around. Good for Cecil.
Well, the Brewers are going to see the Astros coming up on the next road trip. A trip that will take them through San Diego, Los Angeles, and Houston. Hansen unable to get the bunt down. And the count of the ball and 2 strikes. After the Braves come to town, it'll be the Washington Nationals for a 4-game series. That starts Monday. And then a tough road trip going out west, the Padres and the Dodgers. And then a 3-game series in Houston. And then the Houston Astros right back here in Milwaukee in the middle of August.
What will the temperature be in Houston when the team gets there?
Throw some water on the rocks. The question is, will the humidity be higher than the temperature? They've had some hot days down in Texas. Over 100 degrees every day. Well, Gallardo strikes out Hansen. Another called strike 3. That is the 4th strikeout overall for Giovanni Gallardo, and the 3rd called strike 3.
Yeah, went with a curveball to the pitcher trying to bunt. Got out of the way and broke right down the heart of the plate.
So Hansen unable to advance Ryan Church. He's still standing at first base. Back to the top of the order, and Nate McLeod, who has 2 hits against Gallardo tonight.
Yeah, both of them on fastballs and both under center field. Let's see what Gallardo decides to start him out with. Maybe a changeup, curveball, try to get it over. He's been pretty good with fastballs away in this series so far.
McLeod with 2 hits last night. Scored 3 runs last night. Two for 4 with a walk, and he was hit by a pitch. Tonight 2 for 2, a couple of singles and a stolen base. Had a steal last night as well. 2 outs, top of the 5th, no score. Good play by Kendall. Keeps Church at first.
Well, you know, when you're catching Gallardo, when you call that curveball, you better be ready to block it, because only the good ones end up in the dirt. It's the bad ones that you end up catching about head high, and sometimes you don't get to catch them. High curveballs are not good pitches. So you call it, you better block it.
Well, in this series with the Brewers and the Braves, you're looking at 2 of the most powerful center fielders at the plate, Nate McLeod and Mike Cameron. Cameron with 14 home runs, McLeod with 15. Only Curtis Granderson has more home runs than those 2 from the center field position. Granderson has 19 home runs this year for the Tigers in that ballpark.
He's turned into a good hitter. He's got good speed. He's a triples guy. He's hitting home runs. One of the better leadoff hitters in the game right now. Yeah, that is a tough ballpark to hit homers.
McLeod had a long hitless spell for Atlanta just recently. He was 0 for 17 at one point before a single last Monday, and been swinging the bat a lot better since. Just got a piece of that one to stay alive, and the count stays at 2-2. Braves picked him up on June 3rd. Matter of fact, McLeod's first series in an Atlanta uniform was against the Brewers. Braves traded away 3 players, 2 pitchers for Nate McLeod. You know, at the time, Rock, you saw that deal and you're doing your homework on the Braves and you're saying, why would the Pirates give up Nate McLeod, a Gold Glover, a great hitter? We had heard about McCutchen, Andrew McCutchen, hadn't seen him yet, and you can understand why.
Yeah, I mean, McCutchen's a pretty good player. He played well against the Brewers. You can understand that. A guy that's going to make some money, Nate McLeod, as Gallardo again just misses that outside corner. Corner's closed tonight. Man. A little bit more difficult to replace Adam LaRoche, though, at first base.
Yeah.
For the Pirates.
Well, LaRoche traded to the Red Sox. 3-2. The runner takes off. And McLeod draws the walk. So 2 walks in the inning. And the Braves have 2 on here with 2 away. And Martin Prado coming up.
Now, 2 times Giovanni thought he had strike 3 on a pass ball away. Once to McCann. McCann got some extra pitches, able to get a double. That was last inning. Thought he struck out McLeod. McLeod ends up walking. And I'll say it again, it's even more amazing as you watch strike zones these days as to what Mark Burley did a couple of days ago.
That perfect game against Tampa Bay. 2 on, 2 away. Chipper Jones would be next. Prado has grounded out twice. First time up, he rolled into a double play. A hot one right to Lopez. How about that play? Felipe Lopez showing a little form right there on a rocket from Prado. The inning is over. And the Braves strand 2. Gallardo another scoreless inning. Outstanding play by Felipe Lopez. I want to remind you that in just the first 10 minutes, you get your most important news and complete first alert weather on CBS 58 News every single night in the first 10 minutes. Tommy Hanson facing Frank Catalanato to start this 5th inning. The Brewers have 3 hits against Hanson tonight, a double and 2 singles. Catalanato with his second hit. Well, he went to the opposite field in the second. He pulls one here to start the fifth. 2 for 2 is the Brewer right fielder.
Well, great play by Felipe Lopez to end the threat at the top of this inning. A nice backhand pickup, and looked like he had to avoid the second base umpire on that throw. Check it out. Nice job by the umpire getting out of the way and able to get the out. That ball gets by him. That's a run.
Making an impact tonight with his glove. Felipe Lopez in his first Miller Park start. Catalanato aboard for J.J. Hardy. No score here in the fifth inning. Each club now with 4 hits, and these two young pitchers matching each other almost pitch for pitch. Hanson has not allowed a walk. Gallardo has issued 3 in this game, 2 of them coming in the top of this fifth inning. Hanson giving up 6 earned runs in 6 innings against the Brewers in his major league debut on June 7th. Well, you have to know that was a lot of pressure on him that day. I was surprised they actually allowed him to make his debut at home. The AAA ball club for the Braves is in Gwinnett. It's about a half an hour from Atlanta. And so much hype surrounding Tommy Hanson. One of the reasons the Braves didn't call him up right away, because he had a great spring for him. They wanted to keep his innings down outside the spotlight of the major leagues. They were confident he'd have success, but they kept him in the minor leagues until June.
Yeah, a lot less pressure when you make those debuts on the road. The Brewers did that for Prince and Ryan. Prince Fielder started his career with the Brewers in Tampa Bay. Ryan Braun in San Diego.
Hardy walks on 4 straight. So J.J. Hardy earns the first Brewer walk of the night. And 2 men aboard for Jason Kendall. Kendall a chance to drive in a run. Brewers trying to get on the board first tonight against Atlanta.
Looks like the Braves expecting a bunt. I don't know about that one with Gallardo on deck. Let's see what the Brewers elect to do here. Runs are going to be tough to come by tonight.
Well, I guess if you're Ken Maka, you weigh the odds, right? Is Gallardo a better option to hit one in the air on a sacrifice fly situation, or Kendall a double play threat here?
Not often your number 8 hitter in the lineup in this situation is going to drop down the bunt when you know the pitcher is going to get an at bat. Different situation late in the ball game if you might go to a pinch hitter, but that's not going to happen.
And even as good of a hitter as Gallardo is, he's still a pitcher at the plate.
Plus Kendall's been getting hits. He's been swinging the bat well.
Hit one sharply to the shortstop his last time up for an out. A slider strike that buckled the knees of Jason Kendall.
He's got a good curveball. That one a hanger right at the top of the strike zone.
Never changes expression, does Hanson. 2 on, nobody out. Start this fifth inning. Kendall in the air to center field. McLeod drifting back. Catalanato is going to tag, and he will advance to third base. So Kendall flies out, but he does advance the runner. And perhaps the Brewers a fly ball away from putting a run on the board here.
Well, didn't get the base hit, but he was able to advance a base runner. So I guess if you're making out, one thing you want to do is get that man to third base with less than 2, even with the pitcher coming up. Last thing the Brewers want to see here is a double play ball from Gallardo. Anything but that. You want to give Felipe Lopez at least an opportunity with a man at third base if Gallardo's not able to drive him in.
Braves are heads up for a squeeze bunt here. Giovanni squaring early and takes a strike.
You drop down the bunt, you get another man into scoring position for Lopez with 2 outs.
Gallardo has 4 sacrifice bunts this year. He also has 2 home runs. And a bouncer over the head of Jones. A base hit for Gallardo. Catalanado scores, and the Brewers are on the board as Gallardo drives in his 5th run of the year.
Well, it's got to feel good for Yo. It's been a struggle for him offensively, particularly against guys with good sinking fastballs. That was a slider. Out in front, beats it into the ground, and with the infield in, expecting to bunt, able to knock it over Chipper's head and into left field.
Well, so the skipper had it figured out all along, huh? Square to bunt, bring the infield in, and then hit a Baltimore chop into left field for a base hit. Smart guy. And now Lopez is up there with 2 on and 1 out. 1-0 Brewers as Gallardo drives in the run. Back to the top of the order. Lopez is 0 for 2.
Now you see the infield there, anticipating a bunt. Chipper Jones on the grass and not able to get it. Run number 1 for the Brewers.
Catalanado, who started the inning with a single, scores the run. Hardy at second base, Gallardo at first. And Lopez slaps one to left, a base hit. Bases are loaded. JJ had to freeze on the line drive. That was close to being caught. And Felipe Lopez has his first Miller Park hit as a member of the Brewers.
Man, you love the approach. Lopez taking a fastball away from him, outer half, up in the zone, gets on top of it and just slices it into left field. Chipper Jones didn't come far from catching that baseball. That's why JJ had to freeze. And now the base is loaded for the Crew with Craig Counsell coming up.
Lopez has a sweet swing, doesn't he? That's why he's been able to hit 300 this year. Roger McDowell, the Braves pitching coach. A word with Tommy Hanson.
And from what we've seen from Lopez, even in the time that he was with the Diamondbacks early in the season here at Miller Park, just hits the ball where it's pitched, doesn't try and pull it. A professional hitter that has a pretty good plan when he goes up there to the plate.
So the bullpen active for Atlanta. And here comes Counsell now with the bases full. Still just 1 out. The big hit in the inning, Gallardo's infield single, or excuse me, single that bounced over the head of Jones. Craig Counsell in his career, a .398 hitter with bases loaded. An incredible career number for Counsell, and Hanson gets ahead of him with strike 1.
Well, it's guys like Counsell that, do a good job in situations like this. Guys that are just trying to get the base hit and not try to hit the grand slam. Contact hitters ordinarily good in these situations.
And a breaking ball, a little chopper. That is going to stay fair. Hanson's play is at first, and another run will score. Craig Counsell with an RBI. On a ground out to first base, a little slow roller. The Brewers have a 2-0 lead.
No, nothing wrong with that. No, once again, just trying to make contact, not trying to hit the ball of the ballpark. A curveball up in the zone. Counsell in front of it and able to stay fair. Looked like Hanson wanted wait to see it was going to go foul, but realized it wasn't and got the out at first.
Hardy scores the run. 2-0 Milwaukee. Second out of the inning. Counsell gets the RBI, his 20th of the year. And here comes Ryan Braun with runners at second and third. Braun doubled off Hansen in the first inning. He swung at the first pitch. Gallardo at third base drove in the first run. Felipe Lopez at second. Lopez has great speed, but he's been slowed a little bit with a hamstring injury. Braves outfielders are deep. A base hit should score 2. Braun takes a strike.
They're trying to cut off those gaps. That doesn't really help the Braves right in this situation because a base hit, as you mentioned, scores 2, but they're still deep.
Braun, a little bouncer to Hansen, and the side retired. So Hansen strands 2, but the Brewers get 2. 2-0 Milwaukee as we head to the 6th. While Giovanni Gallardo has made plenty of noise with his arm this year, he's also made some noise with his bat. Remember that game in April 29th against the Pirates? Gallardo went 8 shutout innings, gave up just 2 hits, struck out 11 Pirates. One of his best efforts of the season. Just 1 walk that day against Pittsburgh. And at this point, it was a season high when he punched out 11. And Gallardo hit the home run that provided the only run necessary. A 1-0 win for Gallardo. One of 2 1-0 victories that he has been a part of this year.
Now, he mentioned that the Brewers don't score a whole lot of runs with Giovanni out on the mound, but one of the reasons is he faces some of the league's best. We've been talking about that now for a couple of starts. Some of the best in the business he's locked horns with this year.
And Gallardo lost 1-0 to Johan Santana in New York earlier this year. Actually, he took a no decision. The Brewers lost 1-0. Beat the Pirates 1-0. Took a no decision in a game against the Cardinals where the Brewers won in 10 innings 1-0. Shut out the Braves 4-0, and then has a couple of shutout losses on his line in the month of July. Twice this year, Gallardo has lost to the Mets 1-0. Santana got him once, and Mike Pelfrey the other time.
You know, this is Gallardo's 20th start of the year, and in the 9 games that the Brewers have lost with Gallardo on the mound. They've scored only 23 runs.
Chipper Jones rolls over one foul.
A little over 2 a game on average. You're not going to win too often with that kind of run support.
Well, a key inning for Gallardo. Anytime you get into the lineup for the 3rd time, especially in the middle of the lineup, always an important time for a starter. Gallardo's pitch count in good shape as he works here in the 6th, and Jones lays off a tough pitch. 2-2 the count.
How about Ken Moffitt? Does he look good in that uniform?
I think he does. He's an old Pittsburgh guy, you know. He kind of fits.
Milwaukee Bears, you betcha. Right at home.
Down goes Jones. Another called strike 3. Second time Jones has struck out looking against Gallardo today. And that is number 5 for Giovanni.
Now able to get him with the curveball right on the outside corner. And C.B. Buckner rings him up.
Just when you want to give up on that pitch.
Yeah, that's about as close to that corner as C.B. Buckner will call tonight.
5 strikeouts for Giovanni. 4 of them have been called strike 3s. And he's gotten Jones twice now on the breaking ball. Brian McCann doubled in the 4th. Little bouncer to Prince. Nice easy hop. And 2 up and 2 down for Gallardo.
And another good off-speed pitch by Giovanni Gallardo, getting McCann out in front. 84 miles an hour. Able to get him. See, I like that changeup. I mean, throwing that changeup has really helped him here tonight. He still is, having a tough time with the curveball. It's been good at times. It's not been thrown for strikes all that often, but when you add that changeup to the mix, and that's a pitch that he kind of got away from for a few starts. When he first got called up and in spring training, that was one of his best pitches.
Try to change up there to Anderson.
Good one.
So back-to-back changeups against Anderson, who does not like to hang around the count very often. He is a free swinger. And a pretty patient lineup here in Atlanta.
About the middle of the pack in walks in the National League, but very few strikeouts. He put the bat on the baseball.
Garrett Anderson has only walked 15 times this year in 75 games. There's another changeup. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Garrett Anderson.
Tough to walk when you're only seeing 2 or 3 pitches in that bat.
But he's hitting .291. Curveball bounced out to Lopez. And the first 3 up, 3 down inning of the night for Gallardo comes after a 2-run 5th. The home run derby champ is set to lead off when we head to the 6th. 2-0 Milwaukee.
By Usingers in baseball. It's just not summer without them. Say on Thursday at Miller Park, more than 200 kids from the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee received free dental care made possible by Brewers Charities and Mike Cameron. The Team Smile program provided education, screening, and treatment by local dental professionals who donated approximately $140,000 in dental services. Team Smile. Nobody has a better smile than Cameron. Prince Fielder jumping on the first pitch from Hansen, a base hit. And Milwaukee still getting their hits against Tommy Hansen. That is the 7th of the game against the young right-hander. The Brewers have a lead man aboard.
Well, 7 base hits, only 1 extra base hit. That was Ryan's double in the first inning. Able to string together 3 singles in the 5th to get a couple of runs. And Prince able to pick on a high pitch and bang it into right field.
So Fielder at first for Mike Cameron. Cameron, like Fielder, jumping on the first pitch. Cameron hitless in this series. He had a rough series against the Braves in Atlanta outside that home run he hit off Hansen on June 7th.
It's sometimes tough going home. You know, a lot of things going on outside of baseball, and sometimes you lose focus. Not always. Sometimes that plays a part.
Oh, 0-2 to Cameron.
Well, some guys have a tough time when their home ballpark is in the town where they grew up. At least initially, then you learn how to manage all that, all the pass lists and folks that want a piece of you during the day. It's one of the things that, you know, a lot of players will tell you about, you know, teams getting to the postseason for the first time, all the distractions.
Cameron in the air to center field, way up there, playable for McLeod. And the first out of the inning.
It's amazing you get to the postseason, you realize how many friends that you have you never knew. Friends, family, second cousins.
Coming out of the woodworks.
They all want you.
Even if you're the broadcaster, you find out you had friends in low places.
Right. And then when they realize you don't have any access to tickets, they forget you.
Gone. We don't have any access to tickets. We don't have any access to anything.
No. It's all out of the goodness of their heart that they want to give us.
And no, I can't get a Ryan Braun baseball sign for you.
But I can say happy birthday to you on the air.
That's right. If you make it through the gatekeeper, that is. Catalanato with 2 hits against Hansen tonight. Just hitting it where it has been pitched. Slapped one to the opposite field in the 2nd. He pulled one to right in the 5th. Catalanato hitting .286 now. Maka has made sure to get Catalanato pretty consistent playing time to keep him sharp coming off the bench. He'll start a couple of games a week.
Yeah, had a good series against the Dodgers when Corey Hart was bothered by that bad foot.
And shows a good eye. Hansen walks Catalanato on 4 straight.
Hey, fans, enter the Time Warner Cable's Diamond Life Sweepstakes, and you can spend a day in the major leagues. One winner will take batting practice here at Miller Park, score a big leaguer's salary for a day, and watch the Brewers game from a suite. Visit Brewers.com for details.
2 on with 1 away for J.J. Hardy, who walked and scored in the 5th. Grounded out his first time up. Saw J.J. Hardy's brother Logan in the ballpark yesterday. He's here all weekend. If you want to read about a great story, do a search on J.J. Hardy and Logan Hardy. The two brothers. Logan fighting in the war, coming back, and the brothers helping each other as J.J. Hardy was going through rehab on an ankle injury. J.J. awful proud of his brother Logan.
Yeah, they both helped each other tremendously and both doing pretty well right now. Tough times for a while for the two brothers.
J.J. with a chance to do some damage here. The Brewers trying to extend a 2-0 lead. 2 on, 1 away. And J.J. able to lay off. It's a good take by Hardy. 2-2. Manny Acosta in the bullpen for the Braves. He was up last inning as well. Hanson's pitch count is low, but the Brewers starting to get their hits now. And a couple of walks in the last 2 innings for Hanson. There's only 2 of the game. Fielder at second, Catalanato at first. And Hardy bounces one to Jones. He'll step on the bag. The throw to first is in time. A 5-3 double play to end the inning. So the Brewers come up empty with 2 on and 1 out. Good play by Chipper Jones. And we head to the 7th. WMLW is presented by Heiser Automotive Group. Visit us at heiser.com. Our Miller Lite, what's on tap? The Brewers back on Fox Sports Wisconsin tomorrow. We're on the air with Brewers Live at 12:30. Final game of the series with the Braves. And then the Washington Nationals come to town Monday. New manager Jim Riggleman at the helm. That'll be the first of a 4-game series, and we're on Fox Sports Wisconsin the rest of the way. Glad to have you tonight on WMLW, where the game is on us. 2-0 Brewers lead it. Gallardo hooked up in a dandy with Hanson. Escobar swinging away on the first pitch, a little cue shot, and 1 out here in the 7th.
Well, Gallardo's been outstanding tonight. I mean, he has the 4 walks. He's got 5 strikeouts. 4 of those have come looking, so he's got good command. The big difference in tonight has been the changeup. Changeup's been tremendous, getting outs early in the count, including the last one. Able to get Escobar on the first pitch. Gallardo driving in the first run of the game as well.
Giovanni's 5th run batted in of the year. That broke the seal in the 5th inning and part of a 2-run frame. The only run scoring inning in this game. Giovanni's given up just 4 hits as he faces Casey Kochman here with 1 away. .100 pitches for Gallardo. 0-2 the count.
The change has been the difference tonight. There's no doubt about that. It's one of those pitches that you don't have to throw for a strike to get a swing, because it fools the hitter. You don't expect it. You sell it with the arm action.
And that's 2 easy outs for Giovanni Gallardo. And the curveball maybe at its best here in this particular inning. 2 balls in play right off the end of the bat from Escobar and Kochman. Ricky Weeks, Mike Rivera down in the bullpen.
Yeah, Ricky just can't decide where he wants to hang out.
It's not a bad spot down there.
No, just go back and forth, make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Might be a superstitious thing. The Brewers didn't get any runs. Maybe Ricky moves to the bullpen, get a couple of runs. That's probably where he's going to stay.
It's a good thought. There's Ricky. He and Rivera and Felipe Lopez, the 3 amigos in the offseason in Orlando. I talked to Mike Rivera about Felipe Lopez, who has a hit tonight, made a great play earlier. He said, "You're going to love this guy." Mike Rivera was saying he got a great personality. He's good in the clubhouse, great teammate. He was very happy about the acquisition. Gallardo pours a strike in there against Church, 2-1.
Well, he understands the parts of the game of baseball that are away from the field. The media, attention. He's always willing to do the interviews and very good with the fans. Kind of a quiet guy to himself. But as you mentioned, a good example for some young players in any clubhouse. It's amazing this guy's bounced around as much as he has. His 6 different big league team now with the Brewers.
He's kind of been the piece that every team has needed, and then he became a free agent. 2-2 the count. Gallardo looking for another 1-2-3 inning, and should have it here as Hardy makes the long throw, and Giovanni Gallardo has racked up 15 consecutive scoreless innings against the Atlanta Braves this year. Head to the 8th inning. Checking the bottom of the 7th. Tommy Hanson on the mound for the Braves tonight. The 22-year-old phenom against young Giovanni Gallardo, and they have lived up to the billing. Gallardo with 7 shutout innings. He also drove in the first run. RBI single in the 5th, part of a 2-run inning for the Brewers. Counsell has the other RBI. 2-0. Brewers have out hit the Braves 7-4. Kendall, Gallardo, and Lopez due up in this inning. And Gallardo retiring the last 7 batters he's faced. Kendall is 0 for 2. Rolled out in the second, then he flew out to center field in the 5th. Brewer catcher looking for his first hit of the game. Milwaukee breaking out their throwback uniforms to the 1923 Milwaukee Bears team, part of the Negro Leagues. Negro League tribute night tonight. Always enjoy the throwback uniforms. I'm not so sure the players do. I think they like the idea, but at the same time, players are creatures of habit.
Yes, they are, particularly pitchers. And I think if this one stays the way it is right now, I think Yo might want to wear that uniform every time out.
Break him out again. Escobar's got it. And Kendall is retired.
Hey fans, tomorrow afternoon against the Braves, all fans in attendance get a Bratwurst Racing Sausage Bobble. Compliments of the Clement Sausage Company. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or go to brewers.com.
So here's Gallardo now with one away. Giovanni getting a nice hand from the sellout crowd. 43,565 in attendance tonight. 23rd sellout of the year. Giovanni's strength is the pitch up in the strike zone. He's done some damage with that pitch this year. Gallardo now with 6 hits for the season. He's tied with Braden Looper and Jeff Suppan for the most hits by a starting pitcher this year. And has 5 runs batted in. Big cut. 1-2. Six assists tonight for Yunel Escobar. We talked about how well he's playing defensively. Assists per 9 innings for Escobar. Over 3 a game. He covers a lot of ground. He gets to a lot of balls that most do not.
Brewers only have 2 putouts to the outfield. Cameron's fly to center and Kendall's fly out to center in the 5th.
That's right.
The other fly ball outs have been pop-ups.
Good point. Hansen has been good, but the Brewers were able to scratch a couple of runs in the 5th. And getting tremendous pitching from Giovanni Gallardo. Breathing life into a ball club that is hoping for a turnaround here quickly. Brewers dropping down to 500 for the first time since May 2nd with that loss last night.
Yeah, that's a watermark you have to be careful with. I mean, you can talk all you want about, being within striking distance, but you start getting under 500, then you start questioning yourself. And ordinarily, playoff teams or contenders aren't going to be 500 too deep into the season.
Well, Giovanni's worked it full. 3-2.
Only 96 pitches so far for Hansen. That's not too bad.
Yeah, both of these pitchers have been on the economy line. Full count pitch. Gallardo takes a hack and drills C.B. Buckner right in the mask.
That was a direct shot right there. I'll tell you, that'll wake you up. That's the thing about those masks, those hockey style masks. You can see very well with them. That one gets him right between the eyes. That'll wake you up like a punch to the face. Without the bruise. There's not a lot of padding in those masks. That mask that McCann has on, got that padding. A lot of padding around it, but not as much with that hockey-style face mask.
Yeah, that mask is designed essentially to deflect the direct hit.
It's got a bit of a point on it. Kind of a rounded edge right in the front, and everything gets deflected on either side. But when you get hit dead on like that,
Roger Cappinger just making sure that Buckner has his faculties. He's working that jaw over a little bit. You know, the two concerns you have there, the jaw and the neck from the whiplash.
You just know what Roger's saying to him. Listen to me very carefully. Those pitches on the corners are strikes.
He is saying that, isn't he?
I'm telling you. He's trying to sell it in.
I think Roger's telling CB Buckner, look, we can make this change quickly, without incident, if you don't feel like you can go here. And by the way, those pitches were strikes. No, he's not saying that. He's not saying that.
He's going to be all right. Yeah, those guys, I'd tell you, they take a beating. They really do.
Well, if he convinces Roger that he can stay in the game, then he will have certainly done something. It's not easy to do. No problem, he says.
You want to make sure. You just want to shake the cobwebs out, make sure that he's got all his faculties with him. You can see that was a direct shot. See where that baseball lands? Watch this. Boom, straight down. I mean, didn't deflect at all. Actually hit McCann right in the back. And then carry him to the side. But that hurts. That'll shake you up. You see the difference in the masks. A little bit more of a rounded edge. Everything's supposed to deflect off to the side. But that one didn't.
All right, so CB Buckner stays. 3-2 the count on Gallardo with one away. And Giovanni fouls another one back that whistles right by his ear. Ryan McCann saying, did you flinch back there? Oh, man, why wouldn't you? How about this at bat by Gallardo, hanging tough.
Well, Hansen keeps pumping fastballs one after the other. Last thing he wants to do is throw a breaking ball and walk him.
At the top of the order next. Long at bat by Giovanni Gallardo. This is pitch number 11 of the at bat for Gallardo. And that one is ripped into left field, and that's down for a base hit. Giovanni Gallardo stands tall and delivers a base hit after a great battle with Tommy Hansen.
Well, one fastball after the other. This time, Yo able to get one that he likes. Middle in. And the more you see that fastball, the better you're able to dial in and get the bat head out on it. And Yo hits a bullet out the left.
Base hit number 8 for the Brewers. Gallardo has 2 of them. Boy, he is having a big night tonight. Top of the order. Here's Lopez. And that one's into center field. McLeod coming in fast, and he dives. He cannot get it. And Gallardo is going to be out at second base. Giovanni thought he caught the baseball. And that will be a force play at second.
Yeah, hang with him for Lopez. That was a base hit. It should have been. Tough decision for Gallardo. He was kind of caught in no man's land. McLeod got a terrible jump on it. And by the time he got close, hit the ground first. It's a tough decision. I mean, split-second decision by Giovanni Gallardo. I mean, tough to do. Wasn't sure where it was, particularly when the ball got behind McLeod. He was able to turn around and throw it in, and Giovanni an easy out because he was heading back to first base.
So no hit for Lopez. He reaches on a fielder's choice. And the putout goes, I believe, 8-4 there. I'm not sure if the ball switched hands or not from Prado to Escobar. 8-6 officially. So 2 outs. Lopez, a base stealer at first, with Counsell at the plate. I'd be surprised if Lopez is running in this situation. He's been bothered by hamstring issues. Knocked him out of a couple of starts for the Brewers.
Well, if he does run, you know he's okay.
Yeah. Counsell into right center field. Well hit. And that one is going to fall. A base hit. And it one hops out of here. A ground rule double. And Lopez has to return to third base. That is a bad break for the Brewers. If that stays in the ballpark, Lopez scores easily.
And he was running very well. I mean, no signs of any problem with that leg. Why, how about Craig Counsell just putting a charge into one into the gap out there in right field? My goodness. I mean, he's swinging the bat with about as much authority as he ever has in his career. Able to go down and get that pitch down in the strike zone, beginning too much of the plate. One hops over the wall. Lopez just screaming around the bases. He looked good running.
Which is a good sign. Unfortunately, the ball bounces out for a ground rule double.
Well, Bobby Cox allowing Tommy Hanson to stay out there. Showing a lot of confidence in his rookie. 103 pitches so far. That's not the issue. But he's got a very good bullpen down there. And everybody's pretty much ready after a good start by Vasquez yesterday.
But it is a bullpen that is a man short, with Mike Gonzalez out for a few days after taking a line drive on his pitching arm. Ryan Braun with runners at second and third. He was up there with 2 on back in the 5th inning. Second and third with 2 outs, and he grounded out back to the mound.
And a good chance this will be his last hitter regardless.
The fielder is next, and O'Flaherty, the left-hander, is ready in the bullpen. Two and 0. Well, the Brewers have tried to add to their lead in the last 2 innings. Came up empty in the 6th, stranding a base runner. There was a double play to end the inning. And Braun takes a strike. That has almost been a guaranteed strike tonight for Tommy Hanson. He's been able to go to that pitch pretty much whenever he's wanted to.
That slider is a strike, as you mentioned, just about every time he throws it, and he puts it in a pretty good spot.
Braun into right. Ryan Church will make the catch. And Braun strands 2 more. Hanson gets out of it. The Brewers still lead 2-0. On WMLW, the Brewers lead 2-0. Well, it was beautiful until that. Now we're just looking for something else. Yovani Gallardo back on the mound. He starts his 8th inning of work. He has racked up 15 consecutive scoreless innings against Atlanta. And he will have a pinch hitter leading off here. Greg Norton to pinch hit for the Braves. And then it's to the top of the order. So a lot of work to be done here. The Brewers have had some chances to add to their lead and put this one away a little bit, perhaps.
The Brewers have left 7 stranded and 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Both of those base hits came in the 5th inning.
Well, Gallardo has retired 7 in a row as the roof begins to close. Storms are brewing. Yovani has 5 strikeouts. He pitches with activity in the bullpen. Stetter is the lefty. You got McLeod coming up next, the left-handed hitter. Todd Coffey, the right-hander. Greg Norton pinch hitting for Atlanta. He's a 128 hitter this year. 6 hits and 47 at bats.
Norton with a pinch hit base hit last night.
And Gallardo blows it right by him. A fastball for a strikeout. That is number 6 for Yovani Gallardo.
Now Yo's done a nice job of getting ahead in the count for the most part all night. Not exactly where he wanted it, but it worked out pretty well. That was a very hittable fastball that he got by Norton that time.
.112 pitches for Gallardo, and he stays. Nate McLeod, who has 2 hits and a walk tonight, a perfect night at the plate. Been the only Brave with any consistent success at all against Gallardo in this game.
Well, you figure Yo to stay out there until that tying run comes to the plate. Last thing you want to do is have Yovani, stay out there too long, maybe one pitch too long, and end up, making a mistake.
Well, Gallardo started the day with the 3rd best opponent's batting average against in the National League. Dan Herron, Clayton Kershaw, and then Gallardo. Opponents only hitting .208 against him this year, and only 4 hits tonight.
He's still got good pop on his fastball, that at 94, and still down in the strike zone. That's a sign that he's not tiring. Start getting tired, the legs get tired, the arm gets tired, everything up in the zone.
They missed with a changeup. 2-2 the count on McLeod. Gallardo trying to get back in the win column for the first time since late June. Two balls, 2 strikes on the Braves leadoff hitter. Lays off another changeup, and it's 3-2.
I don't blame him not wanting to throw McLeod fastballs. He's been on the fastball this whole series. Both hits against Gallardo tonight for McLeod fastballs.
Roof was closed when we started. It opened in the 2nd inning. And closing up once again here in the 8th. Just missed. Well, let him get away. McLeod's night continues. He has not been retired. And decision time for Ken Maka.
Ordinarily a walk this late in the ball game signals the end of the night. Just want to make sure that Coffey and Stetter are both ready. And that'll be it.
So it's going to be Coffey to face Martin Prado. And Yovani Gallardo will get a hand as he heads to the dugout. Gallardo 7 1/3 tonight of shutout baseball. And they come to their feet for the Felco call to the pen.
and pitching against a very hot offensive ball club. Had a very good changeup tonight. Was able to locate his fastball. Only allowed 4 base hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, 4 of them coming looking. And really keeping an offense that's been swinging the bat as well as anybody in Major League Baseball to no runs so far. And 2 for 3 at the plate with the first RBI of the night.
So the roof almost sealed up as we continue on here in the 8th inning. And Todd Coffey is in the game for the Brewers. 1 man out with a runner at first. The batter will be Martin Prado, and Coffey is out there to try to induce a ground ball and maybe a double play that ends the inning. Coffey appearing for the 46th time this year. He has been throwing well as of late. He's been throwing very hard as of late. His fastball has been consistently 95 to 97 here in the last few times out.
There was some good movement. 44 strikeouts in just shy of 50 innings. Well, this is the part of the bullpen where Ken Maka has confidence. You got Coffey. You got Trevor Hoffman out there for the 9th. And hopefully that's all it's going to take.
Stetter continues to loosen as well. Gallardo 7 1/3, giving up 4 hits to the Braves. And at this point, no runs. Prado has grounded out all 3 times up.
You got Chipper Jones on deck, followed by 2 left-handed batters. That's why Stetter is still getting ready out there in the bullpen. I guess if it gets down to McCann, you're going to see Stetter. Just as a matter of who Ken Maka wants Chipper Jones facing, a righty or a lefty. Kind of a flip of a coin at this point.
Yeah, numbers about the same. McLeod has a stolen base tonight, so always a threat to run. And Prado a good contact hitter at the plate. Oh, what a pickup by Kendall. Man, is that a tough play. Kendall just taking a swipe at it, ends up keeping it from the backstop, and that keeps the double play intact.
Yeah, he reaches for it and picks it with the glove because he just couldn't get out that far. Look how far outside that pitch is. Still able to keep that double play alive. Nice job.
Great hands. It's a big play, especially if Coffey can get a ground ball here. It's the little things. That fastball right by Martin Prado. 1-2 the count. Fighter plane still at work at the air show down on the lake. Just trying to get a glimpse of this sold out ballpark. I don't blame them. Nearly 44,000 in attendance tonight.
Coffey, very good command of both that sinking fastball and the slider. The sinker is the pitch that he'd like to get Prado here and get that ground ball. Get on top of it, put some good sink on it, and a 2-hopper to JJ to get out of this inning.
One and 2 the count. McLeod at first. Martin Prado at the plate. Coffey checks on McLeod. Coffey throws a pretty good fastball to first base even.
Throws everything hard.
Gallardo still talking to himself. It was the 1-out walk to McLeod that sent him to the dugout. Popped him up. Kendall gives it a look. And it's in the second row behind home plate. Mark and Debbie Atanasio watching this one. Big spot, 1-2 the count with one away. And that one just missed. Prado lays off a tough pitch.
That's right where you want it when you're up in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes out there in the mound. Good pitch by Coffey. Try to get him to roll over on it and get the double play.
Well, he hasn't been able to square up the fastball. Fouling it away to the right side every time Coffey's thrown it. He's kind of in between right now, isn't he?
But you go back to that Giovanni Gallardo at bat. The more fastballs that you see, better chance of getting a good look at it and getting the barrel on one. If Yo can do it, so can Prado.
One of the hottest hitters in the league. Coffey strikes him out. A foul tip into the middle of Kendall. And a big strikeout for Todd Coffey for out number 2.
That pitch out of the zone. And Prado on a pitch down and away. Not even close. Swings right through it.
Well, here comes Chipper Jones now, representing the tying run. Last night, Jones broke a tie with a home run in the 6th inning with 2 outs. And the Braves never looked back at a 9-4 win. Last year's batting champion at the plate. Gallardo struck him out twice, looking in the 4th and then in the 6th. His first time up, he walked.
Yeah, good breaking pitches and something off speed, something that Todd Coffey doesn't throw.
And now Coffey behind Jones. That's probably going to be Coffey's last hitter. Got Stetter ready in the bullpen and a left-hander coming up in McCann. It's a dangerous spot to be in here. Jones in a hitter's count. A perennial 300 hitter. Oh, he chased one.
Yeah, good pitch. Right on the outside corner, going away from Chipper Jones. Not much you're going to do with that one. One thing you don't want to do here is make a mistake inside on Jones. He's looking to hit one out of the ballpark here. Not going to be able to do it with a pitch like that.
Jones in his 16th season in the big leagues. A career .310 hitter. 2 balls and a strike. Into left, off the end of the bat. Braun's got it. And Todd Coffey does a job. He gets Prado and Jones. The shutout intact. We head to the bottom of the 8th.
Outstanding pitching, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, only allowed 4 base hits. And he wasn't done there. On the mound, at the plate, 2 for 3 with an RBI. Drove in the first run of the ball game. Craig Counsell drove in the other run for the Brewers. So 2-0 Brewers as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Good pitching duel here at the ballpark, as expected.
Yeah, 2 young pitchers who both pitched well. Gallardo in the lead right now, thanks to that 2-run 5th inning. The only runs that scored against Hansen. Eric O'Flaherty is going to start this 8th inning with Fielder coming up.
Well, 51st appearance for O'Flaherty, so he gets a lot of work. Only 34 innings, which means he comes in maybe for 1 or 2 hitters, and he's gone. Probably only 1 hitter here tonight. A 3.18 ERA for Eric O'Flaherty.
Fielder tonight is 1 for 3. Single to right against Hansen his last time up. And there's a strike in the corner. Prince has good numbers against left-handers this year. Actually, he's hit for a higher batting average against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching. As you see, the all-time saves leader preparing for a possible save. Two runs on 9 hits for the Brewers tonight. Oh, a big cut. Oohs and ahs from the sellout crowd. Prince with 24 home runs this year. And he chases one down and away. Fielder a strikeout victim.
Prince not able to lay off that slider down and away. Now Prince just not seeing the ball right now. Last couple of games, like he has all season long. He's been so good all year. Last couple of nights, just hasn't been seeing it all that well.
Fielder 1 for his last 8 with 5 strikeouts. Now O'Flaherty stays, and he'll face Mike Cameron. Cameron is a statistical anomaly. His batting average is lower against left-handed pitchers than it is against right-handers. Normally it's the other way around for most guys. Not with Prince Fielder and Mike Cameron, though. They're better against same-side pitchers. Cameron hitting just 188 against lefties.
There's really no rhyme or reason for something like that. You certainly don't see as many left-handed pitchers as you do right-handed, but I mean, Cameron's been around long enough, able to make the adjustments. Sometimes right-handers just pull off the baseball a little bit more against lefties than righties. Righties just stay in there a little bit better. Think about the opposite field. As much as you tell yourself to stay in there, stay closed with that front shoulder, sometimes it's tough to do.
Cameron sitting on 14 home runs this year. Lays off and draws the walk. So Mike Cameron aboard for the Brewers here in the 8th. Now Catalanotto was scheduled to hit, but with the left-hander on the mound. Ken Maka is going to make the move right here. He's going to send Corey Hart to the plate. That's Derek Lowe. He'll start tomorrow for the Braves. And the Brewers are hoping for a chance to win the series. Hart gets a nice hand as he's introduced.
Kind of surprised that Bobby Cox isn't making a move to counter, because nothing but right-handers coming up.
Catalanotto starting in right field tonight and delivered with 2 hits and a walk. See the splits for Corey Hart. Better average against lefties. That's about the way it is for most hitters, especially right-handed hitters.
And Corey would have probably been out in right field in the top of the ninth anyway, so why not give him that bat against the lefty?
Oh, it's tough to hit one to the wall against this Braves outfield. They play extremely deep. Get good speed at first, and Cameron, as Hart takes a ball and a snap throw. Cameron just back. Cameron was ready to run.
Got to be alive. Snap throw by McCann. Flat footed and close at first.
That's a rotator cuff flare up. It's almost better to go to your knees and make that throw as opposed to standing like that. That hurt my shoulder.
Yeah, you get your body in position as if you're throwing it back to the mound, and then you kind of contort yourself and throw it to first. Yeah, that hurts. That can hurt a shoulder, elbow, you name it.
Anytime you use contort, it's not a good thing.
If you can contort anything.
Contorting days long gone, right?
Right.
Keeping it straight down the lanes now. The 3-1. Hart fouls it back. Had a good cut. Corey batting .259. He's got 9 homers this year. Casey McGee ready for an at-bat. Full count with 1 out. Cameron over at first, and he takes off, and Hart takes ball 4. So Corey Hart, in a pinch hit appearance, draws the walk, and the Brewers have 2 on now. And here comes J.J. Hardy. And will Bobby Cox stick with the left-hander O'Flaherty?
Yeah, surprised that he didn't go to the right-hander with Corey Hart at the plate, and would even be more shocked to see O'Flaherty stay there against Hardy, particularly after he just walked the last 2 hitters. Doesn't look like Bobby Cox going to get up, though.
Bobby Cox whistled at Brian McCann. Kind of pointed at him. McCann said, I just went out there. So here's Hardy, who was batting .152 against left-handers. We give you these numbers not because we're stat rats, which we are, and we admit that, but these are some of the numbers that managers use.
Bobby Cox looking at him in that clubhouse before the ball game.
He's making decisions on matchups here. He's looking at numbers.
Problem is, you know, those numbers are all well and good, but they only apply if his pitcher's able to throw strikes. I mean, the more pitches this guy throws out of the strike zone, the better chance some of these right-handers who have struggled against lefties have a better chance of getting a good pitch to hit. You know, being in a dead fastball situation. Now it's 2-0 with a couple of men on.
And that batting average goes up in this kind of count. Three balls and no strikes.
And Manny Acosta down there in the bullpen are probably figuring why he's been up all inning.
And he's been up now 3 times. That's a toss that tells you I'm beyond loose. Ball 4. O'Flaherty walks Hardy on 4 straight. And the bases are loaded on 3 consecutive walks, and Bobby Cox finally makes the call to the bullpen.
That kind of a head scratcher this inning. I mean, not too many managers have had more success than Bobby Cox, but with 3 left-handers up, Bobby Cox decides to stay with O'Flaherty. He's not able to throw strikes to any of them.
We'll take a timeout. We'll set up the new pitcher when we come back. The Brewers threatening with the bases loaded and 1 away. The fifth inning and lead 2-0 as we play in the bottom of the eighth. But it's burning hot here. Bases loaded. One out. Manny Acosta is in for Atlanta after O'Flaherty walked 3 consecutive batters. Acosta, a power arm right-hander, sinker ball specialist. Just the man Cox wants out there right now with Kendall at the plate. And the base is full. The Brewers have been threatening big time in the last 3 innings, but other than 2 runs in the 5th, they've come up empty. Big fastball from Acosta.
Yeah, it kind of slings at high 3/4 and has pretty good movement on it. Last thing you want to see here is that ground ball from Jason.
Well, the Brewers have some speed on the bags. With Cameron over at third. Won't take much to get him in with a fly ball. And Corey Hart at second base. Hardy at first. Kendall is 0 for 3. What tied him up? 0-2 the count on Kendall.
Yeah, going right after him with fastballs. That one 94 in on his hands. Situations like this, Jason likes to serve it out there in the right field.
And Ryan Church is toward the line and shallow and right. No balls, 2 strikes. Kendall in the air. Shallow. Anderson coming in. Cameron can run. He's going to give it a try. Nope, he stops. Anderson's got a strong arm and a wise choice. The Brewers cannot get the run home with 1 out and now 2 away. It's going to be Casey McGee to pinch hit.
Not even Mike Cameron can score on that. That's not nearly deep enough. Even though Garrett Anderson doesn't throw all that well, that's just too that's just too shallow.
Casey McGee to pinch hit. That 9 spot in the order has been pretty good tonight. Gallardo had 2 hits, 2 for 3 and an RBI. And McGee rolls one that is going to get through a base hit. Cameron scores. Here comes Hart. And he will score. Casey McGee delivers a pinch hit 2 RBI single. And it's 4-0 Brewers.
Boy, talk about a big hit. My goodness. First pitch slider from Acosta. And Casey out in front, but able to roll it into left field. We talked about the throwing arm from Garrett Anderson. Doesn't throw all that well, but I don't think it would have mattered who was out in left. Corey Hart was going to score on that easily. Able to hook it out of the reach of Escobar, which is a feat in itself.
Those runs will belong to O'Flaherty. First and second now with 2 outs, and Felipe Lopez at the plate. And Hoffman sits down for the time being. And Mitch Stetter now throwing in the bullpen. Brian McCann set to lead off. Then Garrett Anderson, a couple of left-handed hitters. 4-0 Brewers on 10 hits. Lopez has one of those 10 hits tonight. He should have 2 hits, actually. He dumped one into center field in the 7th. McLeod made a diving attempt at it, and Gallardo, who was at first base, went back to first. And so there was a force play at second, taking away the hit for Felipe Lopez. Well, you get a feeling Lopez is going to make an impact. He's that kind of player, exciting player with a big power bat as well. He hits for average, but he also has some pop in his bat.
Well, he'll pick his spots. Certain situation, he gets the count in his favor. He will turn on one, but Ordinarily, he likes to shoot it up the middle into the opposite field.
2-2 on Lopez. Lays off. Full count. Lopez has 6 homers this year. One of them came here at Miller Park against the Brewers when he was with the Diamondbacks. Had 4 hits in his first game as a Brewer in Pittsburgh on Monday. Runners take off. Lopez strikes out and the side retired, but Casey McGee delivers with a couple of RBIs on a single. 4-0 Milwaukee. We're on our way to the 9th. Two 2-run innings in front of a sold-out Miller Park. 43,565 the announced attendance tonight. The 23rd sellout of the year. Brewers get 2 in the bottom of the 8th. Take it out of a save situation. So it's Mitch Stetter and not Trevor Hoffman to start this 9th inning. And he'll have Brian McCann, Garrett Anderson, and Yunel Escobar due up.
Now, great numbers for Mitch and very effective against left-handed bats. If you're looking on that bench for Bobby Cox, Matt Diaz, right-handed hitter available. David Ross, the backup catcher. Deori Hernandez, a right-hander.
McCann swinging at the first pitch. Stetter has been so good for the Brewers. Corey Hart stays in the game to play right field. Stetter came in last night when McClung was injured and got the final out in the 9th inning. Tough on lefties, and he's got a couple here as the Brewers bullpen tries to preserve the win for Yovani Gallardo. It would be Gallardo's 9th win of the year, as his domination of the Atlanta Braves continued tonight. Yovani with 15 1/3 scoreless innings in his 2 starts against Atlanta this year.
And it was a lot tougher this time than the first time he faced him this year. Braves really swinging the bats coming into tonight's game.
Big bouncer out to Lopez. And McCann is retired. 2 outs away from a win here in game 2 of the series. Matter of fact, Gallardo in his career against Atlanta in 3 starts, covering 22 1/3 innings. 2 earned runs allowed. Yovani back to his dominating self here tonight. Stetter fires a strike to Garrett Anderson.
Love that changeup tonight. That was a good pitch for him.
Boy, that's a tough pitch. Anderson swings, doesn't agree with the call, and it's 0-2.
Well, Anderson didn't like it, but looked like he went.
The Braves have just 4 hits tonight. Nate McLouth has 2 of them. And Anderson is gone. Stetter strikes out Garrett Anderson.
And nasty right on the outside corner.
Tomorrow it's Derek Lowe for the Braves against Braden Looper, a pair of 9-game winners. Similar numbers. Lowe, the sinker ball specialist. Looper trying to get into double digits in the win column tomorrow. Final game of the series. And the Brewers are an out away from giving themselves a chance at a series victory, which have come far and few between. You know, Escobar with 2 outs. How about the Brewers bullpen tonight, Rock? Coffey getting out of the 8th inning, retiring Prado and Chipper Jones, and Stetter here trying to make it a 3-up, 3-down 9th.
Well, I think Ken Maka has confidence in the latter portion of his bullpen. It's getting to those guys that's been a concern for him.
One and 2. Braves down to their last strike. And Escobar stays alive. Back on Fox Sports Wisconsin tomorrow. 12:30 is airtime for Brewers Live. Greg Kashan and Davey Nelson will have that for you. For 4-0 Milwaukee. And Escobar, a little roller. Hardy ranging across. And that's your ball game. The Brewers win it. Another shutout that Giovanni Gallardo is involved in. That's the 7th shutout he's been involved in this year. For the 4th time on the win side. The Brewers win it 4-0. Gallardo to 9-7. And have even this series at 1 game apiece. And now